We are almost at the fantasy football season. It's almost here. Football is back. I'm super excited. And today we're talking about bounce backs. I got 5 players that jumped out at me. They bounced out at me that could be potential bounce back. Now, am I going to be drafting all 5 of these guys? Absolutely not. But that's not to deny the fact that they could be in a bounce back situation. So if you're looking for that player that kind of had a bit of a down season or 2 or maybe 3, just been kind of out of their luck, just been out of it, this is the year they could bounce back. I got 5 of them here. You may want to target and consider on your rosters this season. Now, if you have not gotten 16 rounds, guys, I implore you guys. I'm telling you, this will help you guys crush your list. I'm giving you the answers on a silver platter. In fact, you can get 16 rounds right now and turn off this video and turn every video off for that matter up until the season starts because you want to stay on top of waiver wires and all that stuff. But if you guys want to crush your leagues, I'm handing it to you on a silver platter. Get the 16-round draft solution. I've linked it here below on the YouTube. Use code TUBE20. That's TUBE 20. Save yourself 20%, guys. TUBE20. Or just Google 16-round draft solution. Video training, optimal players draft, draft, sleepers, breakouts, everything you guys need in one spot. Get 16 rounds right now and crush your leagues. Let's dive into the show, guys. We are talking about 5 biggest bounce back players for 2022. Let's get to it. All right, guys, this show is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Showerline20 is the code you want to use. Stop the video, pause the video, go to your car right now, or come out of your car if you're in your car. Go to a laptop, pull your phone out, go to Manscaped.com. Showerline20 is the code. Try the underwear, Boxers 2.0. Amazing product. It'll keep your balls really, really comfortable in there, guys. Your balls don't stick to the side of your leg and stuff, and they're super comfortable. Try the underwear. That's the product I want to feature today. But also, I implore you guys, try the deodorant, try the body wash. Everything, guys, on this site is 20% off with the code SHOWERLINE20, guys. Go use the code right now. You guys will be very impressed with the product. That's the only product that I use in regards to grooming, in regards to keeping fresh, staying fresh. I even got a cologne. Manscaped.com, Showerline20. Go treat yourself right now. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and let me know in the comments who is due for a bounce back this year. We're talking 5 biggest bounce backs. I got 5 that jumped out at me. But in the comments, guys, let me know who's going to bounce back. Let me know. And will they bounce back? Yes, they could be a candidate, but will they actually bounce back? That's the big question. We're going to answer that here with these 5 right here, all right? Let's dive into it. So first bounce back here. You guys know it. I talk about it. I preach it. And the guy after him, I don't talk about much. So it's going to be very interesting as I talk about him because I haven't talked about him, and he is primed for a bounce back as well. I got to mention it. Would I draft him? Probably not. But anyway, let's talk about the first guy here who I am actually really high on is Saquon Barkley. He is due for a bounce back. He is overdue for a bounce back. He has to bounce back. And I've talked about this in my other videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate this outside the box thinking. It's not your consensus cookie cutter rankings that everybody else is preaching. And that's why 16 rounds is so powerful because I give you all the optimal players all the optimal players after each position. I'm putting it out on the line for you. And it's so safe. Everybody in the industry is just saying, here are the top 10 finishers, draft them in that order. And I just saw a video the other day, I was talking about it in another podcast, where they brought in a consensus analyst, and another guy was asking, it's a relatively big show, mainstream kind of, and they had him on, and they're like, hey, man, like, who's the number 1 wide receiver to be picked up off the board? They're like, Cooper Kupp. Okay, who's the number 1 running back? Jonathan Taylor. I wonder why and how they came up with that one. I mean, like, come on, thanks, Captain Obvious. And this is what they do. So I put myself and my neck out on the line every single year. And one of the guys I'm putting my neck on the line for is Saquon Barkley, who was actually sitting 17th on the consensus rankings. Now he's moved up to top 10. He's actually still in the top 10. Why? Because I'm pushing it. Why? Because now the consensus are jumping on the train because they're starting to realize he's looking good in training camp. He's hungry. It's a contract year. So Saquon Barkley is the first bounce back. And I'm telling you guys, he is in a prime position to succeed this year. It's a contract year, guys. He must bounce back. This is it. He's the focal point of that offense. Both him and Daniel Jones have to perform. This is it, guys. Okay? He may see some stacked boxes, but at the end of the day, volume is king. Talent is king. He's going to be used as a receiver as well. I'm hearing that. He's lining up as a receiver. He's going to be explosive. He's going to get all the goal line work. He is the guy. Bottom line. So when you are looking at a bounce back candidate, you cannot deny that he is probably, if not the biggest bounce back candidate for the season. There's no denying that. And I was grabbing him about a month and a half ago in the second round. I did this experts league where I got Henry, came back around, got Barkley, tried it again in another experts league, which is a $2,000 buy-in, got myself Henry, wanted to get Saquon coming back. And guess what, guys? He was gone. He was picked 10th overall. So Saquon Barkley, one of the biggest bounce back candidates going into 2022. Absolutely love him, okay? Next guy, and don't love him as much. I'll tell you why. But I cannot deny that he is a big bounce back candidate, one of the biggest guys. The guy I'm talking about is Christian McCaffrey. How do you not deny that this guy is primed for a bounce back? He is. There's no doubt about it. Playing 10 games the past 2 seasons. Entirely new offense, though. Okay, Cam Newton's not going to be throwing the ball anymore. It's a different offense. They're having a quarterback battle there with Mayfield and Darnold. I don't know who's starting. I would assume it's going to be Mayfield. Pick your poison there in Carolina. But this is going to affect Christian McCaffrey one way or another. Now, I just heard the coaches and, Matt Rule was saying, I gotta pull up this article here, that Christian McCaffrey is going to be used in a heavy, like they're going to use him as a heavy attack. I don't know where the comment was. Matt Rule, head coach of the Panthers. I don't have the quote in front of me exactly, but it's something along the line. We're going to use them in one word, and that is attack. I think it was something along that line. They want to use him. They want to use him heavily. He's due for a bounce back. The problem I'm having with him, again, new offense. The guy was modeling. Seems like modeling seems more important than football. But besides that, the biggest issue is the 10 games the past 2 seasons and the fact that he didn't get touched and he got hurt. And some people say, well, Joe, Barkley's worse because he got a catastrophic injury. That's worse. No, I think it's actually worse if you get injured and you don't get touched, because that's something that Tim the Bald Guy and I would do. We'd get on the field and we'd probably get hurt simply by just running, right? So that's what happened with Christian McCaffrey. Are you in shape? Are you optimal, right? You're supposed to be on top level. You're running, you're tweaking hamstrings, you're out for the season. 10 games the past 2 seasons, that's a concern for me. But he is one of the biggest bounce back candidates for the season. You cannot deny it. Am I drafting him? Absolutely not. Do you want to draft him? That's up to you. If you want to spend that early draft capital, I think there's safer options. But Christian McCaffrey is a guy that I'm personally fading, but he's due for a bounce back, all right? I've got a big wide receiver bounce back. I'm going to save that to the end. Let's go through 2 quarterbacks here. They're due for bounce back. The first guy, Russell Wilson, last year, finished 15th amongst quarterbacks. Currently sitting, guys, 9th on the Concheapsis rankings, okay? 9th on the Concheapsis rankings right now. They like him, but he's still good value. He's still good value. Get him out in the 7th round, typically in a 12-person, 1-quarterback league. I love him. I think he's due for a major bounce back. Where you're saying, well, Joe, what do you mean bounce back? Russell Wilson's always been steady. Yeah, he has, but I just think he lost his passion last year. I think he was due for a move. He was itching. He knew that a change was coming, and he had a mediocre year. Like I said, finished 15th last year amongst quarterback, 400 attempts. What do you have? 3,113 passing yards. Man, 313, that would really suck. 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not your typical Russell Wilson. I'm looking for more of a 4,000 type year, passing yard type year. And he had that almost every other year. Like he had it in 2020. He had it in 2019. Had, a couple 3,000 passing yard seasons in 2017, 2018. But he's throwing 35 touchdowns in those years. In 2018, 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Russell Wilson, again, I feel that he needed that change with Seattle since 2012. This is a fresh start and a revival of his career. Great weapons with Judy and Sutton, and I think he'll be set. Good running back core there with Melvin Gordon, who I dislike. I think hopefully Javonte gets that workload. But Russell Wilson is due for a bounce back to top 5, again, potential at the quarterback position, potential MVP type year for him. I think he has a great year. I think he thrives. He's been really focusing on the playbook and getting in there in practice and really, really honed in and really honing his craft. I'm really sold on Russell Wilson this year to have a phenomenal year. I like him, due for a big bounce back based on last year, okay? 15th, I think he finishes top 5, top 10. Russell Wilson, huge bounce back. The next quarterback I'm going to talk about, I've talked about him in a lot of videos, due for a major bounce back. Everyone's sleeping on him. He's going undrafted in 1-quarterback league, sitting 19th on the consensus rankings. Finished 19th last year amongst quarterbacks. The guy I'm talking about was Matt Ryan, having a mediocre year. Still almost threw 4,000 yards last year, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on a horrible offense with a bad O-line, under pressure, didn't have his receivers there, wasn't in the groove, just was not being protected. Matt Ryan is going to bounce back to possibly top 10, top 12 form. The only reason why I'm not projecting Matt Ryan to finish as a top 5 quarterback is because there's so many other good quarterbacks that run the ball, from Josh Allen to Lamar Jackson to Kyler Murray to Dak Prescott to Justin Herbert. There's so many other guys that could finish ahead of him that'll just naturally push him out of the top 5 spot. But it doesn't take away from the fact that he's going to be a consistent producer every single week this year. Love Matt Ryan, due for a bounce back year. When I say bounce back, from 19th to at least 12th. That's a nice little bounce back 5 spots and puts him at the top 10, top 12 quarterback in fantasy points. But again, there's just so much talent with Burrow and Hurts and other guys that could potentially finish ahead of him. It's naturally going to push him out of the top 5 spot. So much talent at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, so much talent. Matt Ryan's going to be pushed out naturally because he's not, getting those rushing touchdowns and rushing yards, but he's going to make up for it in passing yards and passing touchdowns. So Matt Ryan, one of the biggest bounce backs at quarterback, okay? So we talked about Ryan, we talked about Wilson, we talked about Christian McCaffrey, we talked about Saquon Barkley, having down years, dealing with injuries. So who's the other bounce back? It's got to be Michael Thomas at wide receiver. Now, Michael Thomas obviously missed the entire 2021 season, dealing with constant ankle injuries, was sidelined, had a mediocre 2020 season, was injured, only played 7 games, 40 receptions, 438 receiving yards, and 0 touchdowns. Abysmal, terrible 2020 year. Everybody had him as the number 1 receiver. I said, guys, avoid him. Back in 2019, he had that pinnacle year with 1,725 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns. Amazing 2019 year. Everybody jumped on him, similar to the way they're jumping on Cooper Kupp this year. I said, avoid him, fade him, guys. What goes up must come down. They're like, well, Joe, even with a slight regression, Thomas is going to do well. He hasn't done anything for 2 years. Now, finally, in comes, an offense where they're set with Winston. They got Olave. They got Landry. They've kind of added some extra pieces there. And the fact that they brought Olave in as a rookie, one of the top rookies, concerns me. And I think that if Michael Thomas stays healthy, Olave gets hindered. But if Michael Thomas gets in the groove, he's still the wide receiver 1. We don't know what Michael Thomas we're going to see. All we know is he's going to bounce back one way or another unless he gets hurt again. Michael Thomas is primed for a huge season. The reason I'm fading him is that they got Olave, who could be a wide receiver 1 in his own right, and they brought in Landry, who could be a wide receiver 1 in his own right, and was the entire time when he was at the Browns. People say, well, Odell was. No, Landry was always the wide receiver 1. So they've got 3 wide receiver 1s there. It's a disaster. They got Alvin Kamara catches the ball in the backfield. Too many question marks here for me, but I'm fading him, but he is due for a bounce back. He is the wide receiver when I look at it. I look at the biggest bounce backs. He's the one that jumps out to me. It's up to you guys whether you want to draft him or not. I'm personally not. Too many mouths to feed. I don't see the volume being there like it was in 2019. I'm fading him, but due for the biggest bounce back at wide receiver potentially. All right? So Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Michael Thomas, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson. Biggest bounce backs, 5 there for you guys. I like drafting 3 of them. Fading Christian McCaffrey and Michael Thomas. What do you guys think? Are you drafting all of them? Are all of them going to bounce back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, guys? Make sure you guys head on over to manscaped.com, showerline20, and get the 16-round draft. So it's going to give you guys a ton of value with the things that I believe in. But that 16 rounds, guys, will help you guys crush your leagues. Use code TUBE20, save yourself 20%. Subscribe, thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Fantasy's around the corner. I'm pumped. We'll talk soon. I'm out.